Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in here to Publicly Buzzed Murder Church on a Tuesday night. I appreciate all the fine folks coming through here. I'm going to crack one open here. Boom. Get ready. We're going to be watching a Ted Bundy interview from 1977. I've never seen this one. And then we're going to be heading over to book club tonight to catch up on chapters 14 and 15. Let me look at my notes. Checks notes. 14 and 15 of The Stranger Beside Me. Again, double Bundy tonight. Welcome in, everybody. Let's go. Share it out. Hit the like. Do all the things.
Let's rock.
Let's rock. What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing? Hopefully everyone is well. I bet they are. I bet the fine folks are hanging out in the Buzz Nation, chilling like villains on a Tuesday evening, coming in to hang out for a little bit, get away from the real life for a moment, and get into some true crime craziness, because we're going to be looking at a Ted Bundy interview from 1977 tonight. And I've got something else in my notes also. What else did I have in here? I had something else, because this interview is not that long. It's like 20-some minutes. What else did I have down here? We watched the news broadcast last week. I think this is a news broadcast also as well from the time period. It's from 75, so this is probably after they've... It's perfect for around the part in the book we're at. If you are in the Buzz Nation, if you're in the book club, fuck yeah, we're going to be going there immediately after tonight's show. Buzz Nation Book Club, immediately following this live. Members only. That's the only way to get in. And speaking of which, we have a physical wheel that we spin, and we give away some goodies here in the Buzz Nation. And you could get some, a chance on the wheel and in the book club if you become a member here tonight. And also, let me just check the wheel to see where we're at. I got some shirts out this week also, and some trinkets. I appreciate everybody that's coming through here and always supporting the Buzz Nation, supporting me, and supporting Gypsy. Right now, on the new wheel, we were killing it on Sunday. We're at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So already over halfway through a new wheel. I'll be keeping an eye on everything. If anything starts trickling through, I appreciate it. But yes, the book club is going to be following this immediately after. But who's in here? What's the fine folks doing? Frog. I need your... If you could, email me at publiclybuzzed@gmail.com. I need to get, I think it's a shirt. Am I wrong? I'm going down to my notes. Hold on. Frog. A shirt. Yes, I need which shirt, your size, and where to send it to. Publiclybuzzed@gmail.com. Please get at me, Frog. I'm trying to play catch up on all the stuff that... Holly Berry, you've also got some good stuff coming out here soon as well. I saw her hanging out in the chat here. What's up, everybody? Pammy's hanging out. Shelly's hanging out. CH. Yeah, that's right, Frog. Been looking for you. Holly Berry, glad that you're in here also. Frog, thank you for coming through as well. Whoa, happy birthday to Holly Berry's dad. Love to see it. Paige M, welcome in. Murder Church is a-happening. Wildside in here. Gamby's in here. Oh yeah, thanks, Gambies. Appreciate that. Thank you. Give me a shout out for the thumbnail. I do put a lot of work into the thumbnails usually. You got to get them in. You got to try to get them in, with a good thumbnail and a good title if possible. Tiff Knox, get in here. Welcome in. Yeah, Frog, get at me. That'll be awesome. But yeah, folks, let's get in here. Let's bust into this interview. Again, this is from 1977. And then we're going to follow it with the 1975. It's a Seattle News extended version. It's like 7 minutes. So, again, the channel that I found, the Carol DeRonch channel, whether that's really her or not, or that's just, where they're using that name because that was one of the ladies that got away from them that we learned about and we talked about on the last book club. Or if it's really her and she's just, collecting all this Bundy stuff. There's some other serial killer stuff on there as well. But it's a lot. It's a lot of stuff, and it's going to help us out as we go along, week to week, covering more Bundy. So let's jump in here on this interview. I've watched the only interview I've ever seen is the one a day, hours before execution in '89. So, Brooklyn, I see Brooklyn popping in through the door. Also, thank you very much, Brooklyn. We're going to come here and do a little bit of modding tonight. Brooklyn, love it. All right, let's see what this is about here. Let's see. Again, this week coming up, Thursday, I think probably Thursday will be a chill show. I may take us to Kick and watch some cops. But Friday, Missy Mayhem's coming on here. We're going to be watching a movie on Kick, of course. We'll be having some fun that night. Yeah, I know Missy likes them real horror movies, so I'm going to try to get a good one for
her. We should tell you, we got to wear jeans and blue shirts.
Yeah. Is your family?
Shelly, thanks for that share.
Not as yet. It's a rather expensive trip.
Yeah.
It's been in Aspen. It's an expensive place to stay.
Your mom's still up in Washington?
Yeah, we started.
Pardon?
Look at this guy. Look at this guy.
I'd have her down here sometime in June.
First of all, I guess I should just say
Gambies has already beaten me over here.
I'm sober enough to know what I'm doing, and I'm drunk enough to really enjoy doing it.
Thanks for hanging out, Gambies.
state prison.
Well, when I was on the main line, as they say, in medium security, I had a lot more freedom, you bet. Big yard to walk in, and basketball court, and handball court,
This is before he escaped again.
Your standard medium security life in a prison is a fairly decent existence, relatively speaking, to a county jail. County jails are by and large pretty confined and inhibiting sort of places.
Why did you decide to defend yourself?
I began thinking about that way back in Utah. I had a year to study criminal law in action, and I have a lot of
details on the new chapters we're going to be going over tonight on the book club. Chapters 14 and 15 get pretty deep, and we're getting a little bit closer to law enforcement, getting in there.
I'm a very biased person, and I have a lot of strong opinions about how things should be done. And when I came here,
well, I didn't get a haircut.
I think that my opinions were established at the point
Missy, I was promoting the show for Friday.
The method that my attorneys wished to impose here and my own did not agree, and we couldn't coexist. And theirs were right for them, and mine are going to be right for me.
Teresa, welcome in here. Hopefully you're ready for book club as well. Oh, that's all, dude. Trailer Park Boys is one of my favorite shows. We could watch that on a Fail Friday, dude. I've watched Trailer Park Boys all the way through multiple times.
I have the greatest amount of confidence that, at least in the preparation stage,
Andy, welcome in here.
that my ideas will work. And believe me, I'm not standing here
crazy.
alone. I'm just called to half a dozen attorney friends of mine today. Every day I get input. Every day I ask questions. But the reason...
Yeah, this is March 1777. Yes, yeah. So, from this courthouse in Colorado in June 7, 77, Bundy escaped jumping out of a second-story window. Trish, thanks for bringing that in. But just crazy.
The reason I went on my own is because I just felt it was time. I felt it was right. I wanted to get involved. I wanted to become a part of my defense because I am such a part of it. I think obviously, I'm going to bear the consequences, so why not bear the responsibility of seeking my own approval and sustaining my own innocence.
Ted, when you left?
Miss Dana with a share on X, I appreciate it.
Of course, you can't help but become an advocate for yourself when you're so involved in a case. When being a good defense attorney, and I'm not pretending I'm an attorney, but putting yourself in a position of being your own counsel, it's that positive psychology. You're going to do it. You're going to do it because you're...
Who in here knows, and this is the way Mandy wrote that, hello, ladies. Who remembers Val Venus from wrestling when he would come out and he was like the porn star gimmick and the Attitude Era in the late 90s? Hello, ladies.
Right. You're going to do it because the person you're representing is innocent. It just happens to be, in this case, I've got a lot of stake, and the person I'm representing is myself.
The big Val Boski.
And I'm working all the harder. Yeah, I feel good about it, and yes, I feel that I'm right, and yes.
You know, I covered your trial, and I was there every day. When when the judge found you guilty of second-degree kidnapping, you never showed any emotion.
Yeah.
And for somebody who believes he is so innocent, why was there no emotion?
My attorney, John Connell in Salt Lake, and I've always mused over just how I should behave. What's the right way for Ted Bundy to behave and make sure that people get the right impression? And I just behave the way I feel is right. Okay, let me take the day of March 1st.
I'm just going to pop this over real quick because I mentioned it. Hold on. I think it starts out like this. I can't play this for long because it'll get a copyright strike, but...
Hello, ladies.
Hello, ladies. I want to get a promo in the ring because that's when it gets really deep. Hello, ladies.
And that's the way I feel. I showed no emotion. I felt emotion, believe me. Now, the irony comes here. When Carol DeRoche, the kidnapping victim from Utah, came to testify in this preliminary hearing here, I was beside myself with rage. She is turning into a professional witness as far as I'm concerned. She is a prosecution witness. And when I heard her go through that routine that I had heard 3 times before, I had restrained myself every time. I couldn't do it this time. And I told my attorney, I said, I'm going to get up. And I got up and I pointed at the judge and I pointed at her and I said, she's lying. She's lied 3 times before and she's lying now. And I felt it. And he pulled me down and he says, listen, he says, you can't do that. And I said, okay, but I had to do it for once. For once I had to do it. And do you know something? People say, Ted Bundy didn't show any emotion. There must be something in that. I showed emotion. You know what people said? See, he really can get violent and angry. There's no right way for me to act. I act, and I don't care what people think about how I act. I act according to the way
He's still
I
answering this
right
question. Jesus Christ.
And I'm not going to try to please people or impress people because, quite frankly, the amount of bias and prejudice that surrounds me as a media image, I can't begin to tear down. Not with this interview or 100 interviews.
Ted, do you believe, I'm a person from the media, other people here, do you believe that we created you, that it's our fault, that we created this image of the mass murder? Is that what you're saying to us?
Yeah, Trish coming through here saying Bundy seems like a nice guy if you knew nothing about him, but there would still be something off you couldn't quite put your finger on. Yeah, that's where I'm at with him, right? And I think there was one lady in the book, and depicts a lot of this stuff, you know, and I'm sure she got this from talking to Ted, I'm guessing. But she depicts, you know, one person at the day at the beach, at Samish Beach, when she just went on that frenzy and he couldn't stop trying to get girls. One lady in particular got real freaked out by him, and it was his demeanor. You know, after she thought that it was all good, it was after the fact that she got the cold chills of like something's off here. I think people can feel that stuff.
Well, I think in the course of doing your job, you did. Not in a malign way, not in a personal vendetta against me, but in the course of publishing the material and broadcasting the material coming out of the Salt Lake County Sheriff's Office or the Salt Lake County Prosecutor's Office, you began to plant the seed in people's minds. Now, that may be your constitutional right and duty as well as, you know, your livelihood. But I think in the process,
what's up? Welcome in here.
You did create a media image of me.
Welcome to Bundy
that's
Vision.
far beyond, you know, the reality of me.
As John O'Connell called the Bundy monster?
That's what he called it. I suggested to John we ought to get Mattel to make little dolls that walk and say, I'm the Bundy monster.
Ted, let me ask you this. You totally believe you're innocent.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not questioning that. My question to you is, how did it come to be that Ted Bundy could be involved?
Dude, I think I've never seen a person, and they talk about it. It's well documented in those pictures when you can see him year to year to year. Sometimes in the same year, especially around this time period when he was before this time period in '75 when he would grow the mustache. because they got the name Ted after that day at the beach as well, and they got kind of an appearance, so he wanted to alter it just a little bit. But the way he truly does come off as a chameleon, this dude has that vibe. You can see it depicted thoroughly throughout time. Like, what is that? Evil manifesting?
In some of these things, and has now been charged, convicted once, is now facing first-degree murder charges. And as you know, is being suspected in other murders. How did Ted Bundy come out? Where did he come from?
That's a very long story, and I really can't. If I knew the answers to that question, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. I'd be back in Salt Lake with a new trial. And one day I'll have those answers, and one day I'll have a new trial. Okay? But I don't know why. Okay? I can't begin to understand why. I know that there's a lot of police ego on the line. I know that a lot of men in the Detectives Division in Salt Lake County Sheriff's Office jobs are on the line. I know that it's a long time ago it ceased to be an issue as to whether or not I was innocent or guilty. The issue is now is, can we pin it on him? Can we follow through and maintain our reputation as law enforcement officers? And
a little bit of a spoiler alert, but I mean, some people probably come to the book club to actually hear about the chapters because you don't have to read them. I'd take meticulous fucking notes about these chapters. I go deep, but just what we're going to be getting into tonight a little bit is how the cops are getting closer and closer to Bundy, and when he gets pulled over at a certain point here in 75, the way he acts. Someone in the chat, talking about. Hold on, let me go back and just see what was said exactly. Yeah, he seems to be enjoying this. I'm sure even in this moment in 75 that I'm thinking it was in this book and Ian's book, The Stranger Beside Me. There's still something, and I'm sure his nerves were just going crazy, right? But it's depicted as he's still kind of getting off on it at the same time. Because he was kind of playing at the end of the day, he's playing a cat and mouse game with the law enforcement here, and he was doing it across multiple states, trying to cover his tracks, thinking about how close they were getting, and because at first he'll take a few girls from the same area, then he'll jump to a new area, dumps their bodies hundreds of miles away.
Tell you, as long as they attempt to keep their heads in the sand
Bundy's
about me,
crazy.
There's going to be people turning up in canyons, and there's going to be people being shot
what's
in
up,
Salt
dude?
Lake
Thanks,
City
bro.
because the
Everybody
police there
sharp.
aren't
Let's
willing
go.
to accept what I think they know, and they know that I didn't do these things.
I did. I got rid of the beard, or the huge beard.
Okay.
Started
Then how do you
fresh.
exist every day? How do you keep your sanity?
Well,
Or are you keeping your sanity? You're a young man. You're intelligent, obvious.
The BTK is creepy
How
as
do you
fuck.
stay in that little cell and stay sane?
They gave me a year's training course in that from March 1st of 76 until I was extradited to Colorado. I was locked up. I had a lot of time to work on being locked up. It wasn't easy at first, but now it's easy. I mean, they made me hard inside, and I can spend time in there. I don't like it. I'll never like it, and I'll never accept it.
That's right, Pammy.
But I can deal with it because I know how to let's say,
Have you trained your mind?
train the mind. Is that
Hot ginger summer is what this is, huh? That's what it is.
yeah,
Hot
that's the
ginger
word I was
summer.
going to use. But it's not exactly training your
Gingers
mind.
come out,
it's just
baby.
creating your own environment in here. Okay? And not looking at the ceiling, and not looking at
think
the
of anything
wall,
better
and
than
not
that.
thinking about the outside, and not anguishing over the fact that you've lost your freedom.
The
But
whitest
simply-
boy summer. Bundy's being eaten by a VHS tape. My God. My God in heaven. Oh, God, we come back to this cop. Cop's like, I've had just about enough of your lip, boy. I'm about to come over there and smack the piss out of you. Keep over here yapping your gums like he's the fucking murderer, I'm telling you right now.
Nothing except when you go to the library.
What did you say? This is 6 by 12?
6 by 12, 6.5 by 12. If somebody talks to me, they're locked up. They're punished here. You know, they're told you do not talk to Bundy. I don't know why. I don't know why they're so paranoid.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's pick it up here
All
more.
right.
Okay.
Cop's ready to go.
How does this compare to the Utah State Prison?
Since 1945.
It's a good deal smaller.
This is in Colorado, I believe.
I couldn't give you any exact figures, but
See if I can find anything else. I believe it's Colorado. Correct me if I'm wrong, somebody that would know better.
I suppose if I was in medium security and at Utah State Prison, you'd have several acres to roam around in, all the blocks, the gymnasium, industries area and whatnot. Even in maximum security, we got to go outside, go to the weight room.
What time do you get up?
6:30.
Exercise?
I walk about 2 miles a day.
Inside?
Yeah, this is Colorado.
880 laps.
Yeah, right now, at this point in time, he's awaiting trial for the murder of Karen Campbell, the 23-year-old nurse who I think she's about to be talked about tonight on the book club, believe it or not. I'm already saying spoilers. I'm saying spoilers.
I haven't been following your case that closely, but you'll have to agree you're the target of a great deal of mystery, and you said earlier macabre interest.
That is nice.
Why? I mean,
that's right.
You'll have to admit there's a hell of a lot of circumstantial evidence, at least circumstantial. It seems to somebody who has simply read newspapers and articles.
No, I won't admit that. No, there's. I don't call it. It's not circumstantial as far as I'm concerned. I don't really know exactly what you're referring to, and I don't really want to discuss it. But I don't care what anybody says or the suspicions anyone harbors on the basis of that misinformation. And indeed, that's what I call it: circumstantial information, perhaps, but misinformation as far as I'm concerned. A lot of people trying to pin a lot of stuff on somebody because it's convenient. But
you think you've been set up?
Well, I don't think there's any broad scheme, but I think one begins to. I would have to infer that based on some of the police activity. I think.
Whoa, Shelley.
Following November of '75, you'd have to say that there was a general design amongst police officers in several jurisdictions to do whatever they could. And I think a statement recently made by a sheriff in Utah County, I believe, he said that he walked...
Some of the... I'm sure we'll actually watch it or get there as we continue going through some of this old footage, but man, some of the creepiest stuff ever is when they re-catch him again in Florida and they're reading him like the warrant on camera and he's just out there being like, still being an absolute piece of shit. But I think they know they got him at that point. Like, dude, but the way he's acting, so defiant.
Some of those meetings because it was just clear that they had one thing on their mind.
Yo, Bonnie, welcome in here.
They were going to do anything to prove it. And I think this trial will show exactly what they've done. I'm not going to sit here and say people have perjured themselves, but I think that'll come out.
Are you angry?
Sure, I get angry. Very, very angry and indignant. I don't like being locked up for something I didn't do, and I don't like my liberty taken away, and I don't like being treated like an animal, and I don't like people walking around and ogling me like I'm some sort of weirdo, because I'm not.
Oh, wait till we get to the book club tonight, and you guys hear exactly how he acted when the first cop, this guy by the name of Hayward, excuse me, last name Hayward, pulls him over. Holy shit.
You
guys haven't read
perfectly
yet.
Happy with the person I am, and I've always been. There's I don't pay my telephone bills on time, and I don't write my mother as many letters as I should. There are all kinds of things I can improve about myself, but a weirdo knows I feel good about myself. I'm happy with myself.
You don't
see the law nerd. Thanks for that share, Brooklyn. Thank you.
Well, gee, that name sounds funny. I hear Ted Bundy in so many different contexts. I stay me. Okay. I've matured in the past year.
Man, I can't wait to read my notes tonight.
I've grown in the past year, and I've learned
the book's getting very
about
interesting.
myself. My only misgivings is that I might never be in a position to apply it.
Only guy that's making a beard look uncool right now, right? Dudes always look better with beards.
Do you ever think
Ted
when
Bundy.
you're in that
He
cell
actually looks somehow
about the
sleazier.
possibility that you could one day face a firing squad?
They don't have firing.
Always teasing with the firing squad. Always teasing with the. They ain't shoot nobody. My God.
That in any event.
I think that did happen recently, didn't it?
That I ever think. I don't think about it, honest to God. And I've been asked that question before, and I'm going to give you a pat answer if you don't mind. Did you fly over here from Utah?
Yes.
Did it worry you all the way over that you might
didn't get the chair
in a plane crash?
Old school
Did you think? Are you thinking about it now?
You don't ever hear about
Same
the chair.
here. I think I stand about as much chance of dying in front of a firing squad or in a gas chamber as you do being killed on a plane flight home. Let's hope you don't.
Didn't say the electric chair though, did he?
But
dude, what a nervous tick, a nervous laugh after saying something like that. I do that shit, right? But when you see it from somebody that you know is just like an absolute monstrous piece of shit, it hits different.
You don't lie awake at night thinking about it.
Not a moment. Honest to God, not a moment. Because it's not going to happen. And
Are you going to be a free man?
That's what I was thinking.
You think that about being a free man?
Sure.
Sammy, what's up?
Yeah.
And you think when I say there is circumstantial evidence that I'm in left field, there isn't circumstantial evidence?
I know there isn't. You're dealing on the outside, I'm on the inside. Okay? I mean, you have access to information, but I'm on the inside. I know what's there and I know what isn't there. I've seen the files and I've heard the reports. And Lord knows I'm the first and foremost person who has the personal and intimate knowledge that it couldn't be me, that it's not me, that I'm innocent. Okay? Dealing from that on out, I know exactly what's what. You know? And when you tell me the circumstantial evidence, I'm not going to argue with you, Lucky. It's just, let's just wait and let's just let it come out in court. And let's let it be examined in open court. And I'll lay my money on me. You know? That's the way I feel.
Yeah, he was going to be representing himself. Yo, Brett.
How have you been treated in prison
house
by
in here
other
tonight.
inmates?
What's up, everybody?
Well, I think
Has
you
it made your life more difficult or more dangerous being in prison?
I think you may be more aware of the rumors than I. For this reason,
Actually, since I have so many people in here tonight, I'm going to give away 5 memberships. So 5 people tonight have the opportunity to come and check out the book club for free. So yeah, hold on. Let's see who gets these things. Let's see who gets these things. Ba, 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 ba. Who are we welcoming in?
Welcome to the party, pal.
Sweaty. Cammy Q hanging out back there. Nice. Lexi the Law Nerd. Hey, Lexi, thank you so much for always sharing. You share almost every single show I do. Holy shit. Amazing supporter. Becky Inhart, thank you so much. Welcome in. And the Petty Paralegal. All super cool names. Welcome in, folks. And yeah, please come over tonight after this. Immediately following this show is the Buzz Nation Book Club every Tuesday night after Murder Church. And right now we're reading The Stranger Beside Me. Is by Ann Rule, a lady that worked with Ted Bundy at a crisis call center in 1972. Of course, we know what Ted Bundy went on to do, and she went on to become a successful author. And this is one of the books that goes into pretty substantial detail about the events surrounding Ted Bundy. And it's a really interesting read in my notes. And again, I always like to do this pitch as well because I'm like, somebody's probably like, oh, man, I'm coming in the middle of the book because we're a little bit over a quarter of the way through this book. But the past episodes are up. If you're a member, you can check out all of those. And if you come through tonight, you will see just how detailed my notes are. And I lay them out and I look at the chat. We chat back and forth if there's anything of interest anyone wants to talk about. So, yeah, come and check it out tonight, please. I'm doing some Bundy stuff.
I have heard a lot of talk. And there might be an inmate X who says, Bundy's this and that kind of person. But when I'm confronted person to person by these people, or by people in general,
Lake, welcome in here.
I have never been accused, I have never been assaulted, I have never been verbally abused. And the reason is because I hold my head high, I believe in myself, and I treat every man with the respect that he deserves. And that's the way you get along in prison. One of the many ways you get along.
She's good, though. I've been enjoying the read.
Is to treat a man with respect, that you don't try to hustle somebody, that you come across straight to them. One of the first things you learn, that if you're a straight con and you keep your mouth shut and you keep tight with good people, you're going to stay out of trouble. That's just, and it doesn't make any difference what you've done.
What happens if you're in prison 5 years and nothing like what has happened in the past happens again?
What do you mean?
I mean, any of the things that you have been accused of by innuendo, by rumor, by the police departments or whatever. What if there are no killings, there are no kidnappings?
It's already happened, hasn't it? I've heard some reports. I number the incidents between 5 and 8, which are similar to the ones which the police have had the nerve to try to associate with me. It's going to continue to happen in Salt Lake and Utah until those police start to wise up and stop counting their chickens before they hatch. I think it's a terribly dangerous mentality to try to pin something on somebody who they believe there's a possibility it couldn't have done it.
Whoa, he's kind of slipped up there a little bit, didn't he? And look at his face. Hold on. Am I crazy?
And stop counting their chickens before they hatch. I think it's a terribly dangerous mentality to try to pin something on somebody who they believe.
Who they might, or he's like, wait, no, who they believe. Look at his fucking schemy little fucking beady eyes.
There's a possibility
dodgy
they
eyes,
couldn't have done it.
Little bastard.
And as long as they believe that, they're not going to find the right man. And the man who kidnapped Carol Duranch is going to continue to be free. And not only her, but every other young woman in the Salt Lake Valley is going to be threatened by that person or persons. And it's happening today, and it's going to happen in the future.
What do you think about, in your mind, what do you conjure up about the man that they're after, or the real man who did these things?
Man or men, persons, I don't know. I can't even begin to understand the mentality. I don't understand the motivation. I don't understand.
Now, I wouldn't want to be in this intimate setting with Bundy, I'll tell you that much. I did want to meet this cop in the back there. You know that dude's got some stories. Holy shit.
Do you ever feel like you'd like to escape?
Let me preface any answer to that remark by giving my feeling about jails. Somebody asked me, that question's been asked me before, I mean, would you want to escape if you're planning to escape? And if my attorney was here, he'd say, I object, Your Honor. Mr. Bundy is being asked a question, and an attempt is being made to ask Mr. Bundy to incriminate himself. But let me try to get my way out of that one. The Utah State Prison, as you know, is surrounded by several barbed wire fences, and
when I said 1945 is when he started, and this is 1977, that's probably about accurate. Like, it looks like he's been around the bend now. Maybe ready for retirement.
And has many guards and towers. And
I must say, I don't want my murderers looked after by this guy. I would like to talk to him. I'm sure he has great stories. But
dogs that run around there. And they've got bars in the cells. And they've got count procedures. And what do you think that's all for? Right. That's to keep the men in there. Better. Now, does anyone think that if they took those fences down...
This is gun country.
That's right.
And took those dogs away and those guns away, all those guys would stay? Sure they'd go. The very reason for prison, the very assumption of all those bars and all that barbed wire is that if it's not there, those guys are going to leave. And I swear to God, every man in that prison, at one time or another, thinks, because I don't like my liberty being taken away, and no man
to hear
does.
Himself talk.
Some men in the Utah State Prison become institutionalized because they've been so brutalized over the years, they don't want to think about the outside. But most every man, when he first goes in there, dreams and thinks and conjures up all kinds of ideas of freedom. But the real difference, the real measure of a man in prison, as far as escape goes, is the difference between hitting that fence and not hitting that fence. Between getting shot at and not getting shot at, and having the guts to do it and not having the guts to do it. You might be able to open those gates at the Utah State Prison, and 80% of the guys wouldn't leave. They'd be afraid to get back out into society. They'd be afraid of being shot or getting another beef put on them, okay? But some would. All I'm saying is, I'm no fool. I don't like being locked up, and I don't think any man does.
You talk about getting out. Do you ever worry about what some of the parents of some of these women who think you are guilty, that they might come after you?
I don't worry about it. There are crazy people anywhere. I've been told that the parents of these girls are fairly decent people. I don't know, and I really feel for them because apparently they've suffered an incredible tragedy in their lives. The loss of a loved one is probably the most extreme kind of loss you can suffer in this life. And I feel as much for them as anybody can, not having gone through that myself. But as far as worrying about that, hey, if someone's crazy enough and nutty enough to do something like that, I can't stop them. There's nothing I can. Before I know it, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I hate to go to bed. And I developed that technique in maximum security. I found the best way to make time pass is, first of all, you come up with a schedule that you try to meet. And schedules are made to be broken. But the process of breaking a schedule, you never make it. You always hustle to make that schedule. And time just sort of zips away.
You get typist?
No. Not at all. They wouldn't give me any correction fluid, so I thought of these little papers that I put in there.
Okay, let me ask just a question here now, okay? Just a couple questions I've already asked you.
You don't have to answer them.
Yeah. You'll have to admit that there is at least a lot of circumstantial evidence. Do you ever feel like you're going in?
This is me to every Brad Koberger weirdo out here. You have to admit there is a lot of circumstantial evidence kind of leading in that direction. What? Oh, they're blind. They're just like, where?
Sane?
What's more?
I didn't ask that one anyway.
What's mine?
Speaking about getting out of prison, do you worry about what some of the parents of some of these girls you've been accused of kidnapping or killing might do to you? Do you ever think about the possibility of facing a firing squad? I can't think of anything.
What?
It needs to be down here.
He's like, I just want to redo that one.
Dark and damp and
I would have had that line.
Aside from that, it's a bad trip.
So you were glad to come down. You were more glad to come down here.
6 of one, half dozen of the other. Down there I could talk to prisoners. We had 3 meals circulated around. My cell wasn't locked. Okay.
It wasn't locked?
I was out with everybody 24 hours a day. Nothing ever happened.
Till they brought Claudine down.
Well, she came in.
Just random bits of conversation here.
I made the point out there that they want you to do, so I'll fight for it.
Really?
What a cocky bastard. Off of this. That was the end of the interview portion anyways with that. Interesting. But I also want to show this. Let's go back to 75. This is where we're at tonight in the book club with the book we're reading. We're in 1975 right now. And this is from Seattle News extended version here. So I wanted to watch this as
Bundy.
well.
Bundy once lived in both Seattle and Tacoma. He's charged in Salt Lake City with aggravated kidnap and attempted murder. King News Service has learned that Seattle police are sending a detective to Salt Lake City tonight. Robin, what's the latest on the story?
This is going to be a good...
Well, Steve, at the moment, there is no...
Look at him. Does he not look completely fucking different than the guy we just seen? He's a freaking chameleon. This is going to be a perfect lead-in to tonight's book club.
Between Ted Bundy and the women found murdered in Washington. But police are bearing down again in their investigation into the Ted murder cases in Washington state. And they say they have a renewed interest in Ted Bundy. Theodore Robert Bundy was a young man King County Police once looked at as a possible suspect in connection with the Ted murders in Washington. A 1972 graduate of the University of Washington and a second-year law student at the time of his arrest in Salt Lake City. At a press conference this morning, Seattle Police Chief Robert Hansen announced a special task force being formed to study Ted Bundy. That is the wrong film, but we should have it up in just a little bit.
Oh, whoops.
Ted Bundy was first brought to the attention of the King County Police by a phone call from a citizen, and he became one of nearly 3,000 Ted suspects in the area. Our source in Salt Lake City says it was Ted Bundy's brown Volkswagen that led to his arrest in Utah. A brown Volkswagen similar to one witnesses recall seeing at Lake Sammamish State Park on July 14th, 1974. That was the day that Janice Ott and Denise Naslund disappeared. There's another person who remembers Ted Bundy driving a Volkswagen. That is his landlady in Seattle. Bundy lived in a house in the University District for several years until August 1974, when he left for Utah to attend law school. Bundy's upstairs apartment was at 4143 12th Northeast, and that's several blocks from Linda Ann Healy's basement apartment. She was last seen alive in January 1974. In 1972, Ted Bundy joined Governor Evans' re-election campaign staff. His job was to follow former Governor Albert Rossellini to public meetings and to news conferences, and he was to report back what was said. And on August 29, 1974, Ted Bundy talked to King News Service disclaiming any political dirty tricks. As I said, we will have that film shortly. The one thing that nearly everyone agrees on, whoever knew Ted Bundy, is that the whole thing must be a mistake. They say they are shocked and they hope that the police have the wrong man. Interest in Ted Bundy has also been stirred up in Colorado. Police authorities there, who also have cases of murdered and missing women, have made inquiries about Ted Bundy with Utah police.
Robin, can you tell us what Seattle Police Chief Robert Hansen and County Chief Larry Walt are saying about Ted Bundy tonight?
Well, Chief Robert Hansen today said that he would be putting two detectives on the case of the two women in Seattle. That's Georgianne Hawkins and Linda Ann Healy, to see if there were any connection to Ted Bundy. And Lawrence Walt said that now that this whole thing has happened in Utah, there is definitely a renewed interest in this one suspect.
And we should point out again, to wrap it up, Ted Bundy is not a suspect, at least according to Seattle police. He is a suspect, but one of many, according to King County.
One of 3,000.
Okay, yes. Thank you, Robin. The man most of us know as Ted has been seen only in a picture. It's a composite drawing that police created from eyewitness accounts. But police say Ted is a real man, and they have spent the last 15 months trying to track him.
Yeah, this is going to go perfectly right into, I think, this exact time period.
Down. Paul Boyd takes a look at the history of this case.
Ted Bundy starts getting
King County Police launched their investigation after Denise Naslund and Janice Ott vanished from Lake Sammamish State Park in July 1974. At least 7 people at the crowded beach saw and heard a man who called himself Ted.
We'll learn about on Book
He was
Club.
described as a smooth-talking man with his arm in a cast who asked several women to help him load a boat onto a Volkswagen. A massive search was launched for Ted, and police were flooded with calls from citizens who said they had seen the suspect. The first break in the case came with the discovery of the skeletal remains of 6 women in the mountains east of Seattle. With the bodies found all in one place, bodies of women who disappeared from places as far away as Corvallis and Seattle, police realized that one man was probably responsible for the deaths of at least 8 women. A special 11-man task force was set up by King County to handle the case, and to date that group has investigated nearly 2,800 possible Ted suspects. King County police showed that man's driver's license picture to the Lake Sammamish witnesses. In that fashion, they eliminated thousands of potential suspects.
He definitely, using his real name also, and that getting out there.
It appeared this spring that the investigation had reached a dead end. Police admitted that they would only catch Ted if he committed another crime and got caught. Detectives are now hard at work to determine if it was Theodore Bundy who made that mistake.
During this time period?
This is Paul Boyd for King News Service.
But through all the excitement of the Salt Lake City arrest, there's one man here in Seattle who's not at all excited. He is Captain Nick Mackey. He headed up the investigation of the local murders from the very beginning. News Service columnist Don McGaffin reports. Don?
Jeannie, the reason Captain Nick Mackey says he's not excited is simple. He says Ted Bundy is not a prime suspect in the murder of the Seattle women. After announcing months ago that he'd hold no more news conferences until his investigators had something definite to announce, he had a news conference today to unannounce Bundy.
Process of investigation now, and we have been for some time. This is why, one of the reasons I called this. it was said in some releases that we looked at him and were not interested. That's not true. Another one said that we have done no follow-up since the arrest in Salt Lake City. This is not a true statement because we're not doing anything different. We've been on him. We've been investigating him as we have many others. I'd like to emphasize that because he is not the one suspect.
Mackey says there is no prime suspect, and the chief detective in the investigation now seems to be the county's computer, a computer with the nickname Ralphie. Ralphie has memorized nearly 2,800 names of suspects. It has memory banked more than 3,500 pieces of information. It cross-matches, re-references, but so far has produced no one worthy of the status prime suspect. And this electronic
Ralphie's
detective
doing a
doesn't work
shit
for
job
peanuts.
because
It
they
costs
have
so far
Bundy's picture.
more than $30,000 for computer runs. Mackey added that the
But they
pictures of Ted Bundy so
man.
far have produced no results.
Imagine
when
being
showed
Bundy and this is how they're treating
to the
him.
witnesses. And he
And
said
now
he has
it's,
no plans to send any
circulating
county
on
detectives
television and
up
in
to
the
Salt Lake
news and
City.
the media. All right. See, I thought that would be a good lead-in, and then after the interview, we're going to be heading into book club here, and again, we're going over chapters 14 and 15, and this is exactly the area we're in right here, mid-1975, which is a pretty important time frame during Ted Bundy's crime spree, his life, however you want to talk about it, but yeah, we're about to head there right now. Let me see if I can get the link in here for the folks that are membered up. You can click that and jump right on over. Again, this is a members-only party. Let me get this. But yeah, we're going to keep on doing this. And this book has been super interesting, though. I have learned a lot. Let me just say that. Right here is a link for all the fun folks. Boom. If you click on that guy right there and you are a member, you should pop right on over. Otherwise, if not, the next time you will see me will be Thursday night. I'm not sure what we're doing. We may go over to Kick and watch some Cops, which will be fun. And then Friday, Missy Mayhem, I think she's in the chat here still. She is going to be coming on for Feral Friday. We're going to be watching something awesome. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to make sure that it's a surprise. I don't even want her to know, but I don't even know what it is yet. I'm going to pick something good though. I know that she likes some true horror, so I'm going to get something good for Missy. MB, dang it. I missed the notification. I've been looking forward to this all along. Damn it. Well, the replay should be up and ready to rock and roll. And also MB, come into the book club that's getting ready to start right now. But other than that, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Come and hang out here with the Buzz Nation privately, a little intimately, if you will. All right, guys. Thank you all so much. Been a great night. Let's go.